Common errors you need to watch out for in your writing are comma splices and run-on sentences. These errors often force readers to reread the sentence in order to decipher the meaning. A comma splice occurs when two or more independent clauses that are complete thoughts are joined by a comma, as in this example. The computer crashed. It needs to be fixed. If you can read the text on each side of the comma as a full sentence, it's a comma splice. There are several ways to correct comma splices. First, you can join the independent clauses with a comma followed by a coordinating conjunction, like so. Or you can join the independent clauses with a semicolon. Or you can make one clause subordinate, especially if one idea is more important than the other. Or you might split the independent clauses into separate sentences, each ending with a period. Comma splices often occur with main clauses that are separated by a comma followed by a linking adverb, such as however, consequently, and finally. In this example, it's incorrect to separate the clauses with a comma. Instead, use a period or a semicolon. The manager didn't allow overtime. Consequently, the project went over schedule. Comma splices can appear between main clauses separated by transitional phrases, such as even so and in fact. Revise these by using a period or a semicolon. Run-on sentences are another type of error to avoid. They happen when two or more independent clauses are placed together, without any punctuation or coordinating conjunction to join them. Like comma splices, run-ons can be corrected by revising the punctuation or wording. For example, you can add a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Or you might add a semicolon, or a subordinating conjunction. You can also make the clauses into separate sentences. Being able to recognize run-on sentences and comma splices will help you avoid confusing your reader. These errors are easy to fix once you identify them. To ensure your writing is clear, pay close attention to how you arrange words and, in particular, modifiers. Words, phrases, or clauses that describe or add specific information to a noun. If used incorrectly, modifiers can have a confusing and often comical effect. In the example, coming into his office, the phone rang. It's implied that a phone came into the office while ringing. This is a dangling modifier. A modifier that doesn't logically describe anything in a sentence. In the sentence, having completed the report, my day was free. The subject that the phrase, having completed the report, is meant to modify is missing. The sentence implies that the day, rather than the speaker, completed the report. Dangling modifiers are also commonly caused by incorrectly placed infinitive phrases and elliptical clauses. Consider the example, to determine the causes, monthly checks were made. The infinitive phrase, to determine the causes, should be followed by a noun or pronoun identifying who determines the causes. The actor implied by the infinitive disappears in the passive voice clause. Next are elliptical clauses, in which certain words are left out because the meaning is implied. In the sentence, when inspired, our research shows that writers are likely to beat their deadlines. The elliptical clause, when inspired, is meant to refer to writers, but instead it refers to our research. To correct sentences that contain a dangling modifier, you can change the main clause so it clearly identifies the subject you meant to modify. Alternatively, you can rewrite a dangling modifier as a complete clause with its own subject and verb. For example, when writers are inspired, our research shows that they are likely to beat their deadlines. Another type of modifier error is the misplaced modifier. A word or phrase that's placed too far from the noun or pronoun it's meant to modify. It then modifies a different noun or pronoun instead. In the sentence, the letter is on the desk that Jim had printed. The modifying phrase, that Jim had printed, has been misplaced. The sentence indicates that Jim printed a desk rather than a letter, It should read, "The letter that Jim printed is on the desk." It's especially common to misplace limiting modifiers, like just, almost, exactly, only, and simply. To avoid ambiguity, place a limiting modifier immediately before the word or phrase you want it to modify. Consider the sentence, "We almost sold 50 books today." This could mean that a batch of 50 books was nearly sold in one go. It might be followed by something like, "But the order was canceled." If the writer actually meant that the total number of books sold for the day nearly reached 50, the correct sentence would be, "We sold almost 50 books today." Misplaced and dangling modifiers can be amusing, but can also confuse readers. Be careful how you use modifiers in sentences to avoid these pitfalls.